Today's story is about a group that performed for over 5 decades, selling millions of records and making their mark in rhythm and blues history. The world knows them as the Dells, but to true fans, they are known as the Mighty Dells. Before we get started in today's video, please be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell to stay up to date. Now without further ado, let's cue that intro. The L-Rays was created in 1952 by friends Marvin Jr. Johnson, Michael and Lucius McGill, Vern Allison, Chuck Barksdale, and Johnny Functions at Thornton Township High School in Harvey, Illinois. The fact that when this group started, they couldn't sing at all, but they didn't let that stop them for chasing their dreams. They would sing anywhere they could, including parties, street corners, and talent shows.
We couldn't sing a lick.
We couldn't sing.
So we said, well, if we sing, we'll meet more girls and, be popular, We couldn't sing.
We wasn't no big thing. Didn't nobody pay no attention to us.
But that didn't stop them. They sang at talent contests, parties, at the ice cream hangout on Roby, and in a viaduct under 147th Street.
The group, they were gaining enough confidence to head to Chess Records when they would record 2 songs titled Darling I Know
I love you so. I want you so.
And Christine.
Oh, Christine, I love you so.
Both of these records would disappoint. Now, following Chess' rejection of the group, Lucius McGill, he would leave, and the remaining members, they would go across the street where they would audition for VJ Records. Label owner Vivian Carter would suggest that the group would alter their names, which turned out to be the greatest thing for the group. In 1955, they would change their name to the Dells, and they would sign a deal to VJ Records.
We went to Chess Records, Leonard Chess, God rest his soul, and told him we were a group.
And begged Leonard Chess to give us a recording contract.
He did, and the group recorded.
We recorded a song called Christine, and on the flip side was a song called
Darling I Know, which was terrible.
Worst 2 songs you ever heard in your life.
Leonard Chess also had some words of advice for lead singer Marvin Jr.
Leonard Chess pulled me on the side and told me, look, Marvin, I like you. He said, but you're not a singer. You don't have the voice.
And after the poor sales of their first record, the L-Rays went across the street to VJ Records, a label owned by Vivian Carter and Jimmy Bracken. One of Vivian Carter's first suggestions, change your name.
We had given ourselves the name the L-Rays. Well, in Spanish, El means the, and Ray means kings. So we would call ourselves the Kings, So Vivian Carter at VJ Records said she didn't like that particular name. So she had us to all put some names in a hat. Just so happened that Vern put the name Dells in there. It had nothing to do with singing or music. It just sounded good.
That following year, the group, they would release the initial version of Oh What a Night. This single would sell over 1 million copies and was awarded a gold disc. This song was also ranked at 260 on the Rolling Stones magazine list of the top 500 greatest tracks of all time. The quartet, they would go on to create other songs including Moving On,
Moving on.
A Distant Love,
A distant love across the sea.
and My Best Girl, among others that didn't do too well on the charts, but they are nevertheless noteworthy.
I must live on.
In November of 1958, the Dells, they would face a temporary setback when heading to Philadelphia for a gig where their station wagon would fail, resulting in a car accident that nearly severed Michael McGill's leg and left him hospitalized for 6 months in Ohio. while Marvin Jr. would suffer a throat laceration.
On the Ohio Turnpike on November 21st, 1958, the station wagon the group was in had a blowout. Johnny Funches was driving and lost control. Michael Mickey McGill would spend 6 months in traction. And though the uninjured four would go on to perform their slot at Philadelphia's Uptown Theater, the group broke up.
We have been going through this so much, people not paying you, and just everything, wasn't no great stuff about it. Everything was a hardship.
We came back, and when we got back, we just kind of disbanded, you know.
This was one of the worst recesses we could have had.
It took me years to get past that, to drive, and it was awful.
They all agreed to put the group on hold until they all healed. And around this time, Chuck Barksdale, he would go on to perform with Harvey Fuqua and the Moonglows, which at this time featured Marvin Gaye, while the other members would work normal jobs.
But then he and Marvin and Johnny Funches went to work in the factories, while Vern and Chuck bounced around the music industry. But eventually, they all came back together.
I just kept thinking, what am I doing in this factory? So we got back together after that.
The group, they were reformed in 1960, but Johnny Funches had become bored of traveling and he chose to stay home to take care of his family. Johnny Carter, former lead vocalist of the Flamingos, would take his position. The group's big break would come in 1960 when they was invited to open up for Dinah Washington, and it was here that the group developed a captivating lyrical sound which drew the attention of Ray Charles, who hired them to open up for him. Now while on this tour, the group, they would begin performing more classical and ballads while also infusing jazz into their vocal performances. Ray Charles, he would dismiss the group while they was on tour after accusing them for stealing his show. Following this, the group, they would gain a huge reputation for stealing shows as the opening act for musicians like Ray Charles and James Brown.
The man was like in the military. You get on the plane, you would have roll call.
Ray Charles was an honorary cat. You never got a chance to talk to Ray.
His road manager, those who have seen the movie, see this guy that comes in, he's a real hard knob. Ray took us to Carnegie Hall in New York. Well, lo and behold, the Dells go out there and just kill the house.
We had like 5 standing ovations.
They didn't quite like that too well.
So the next night, Ray Charles, road manager, told us, when do you guys want to leave the show? Because we're going to be in Peoria tomorrow.
They came back and told us, well, where do you want us to drop you off at?
Fired us, because we got a standing ovation.
We couldn't believe that we were being fired. This is before Donald Trump.
We had a show in Philadelphia, and for whatever reason, the local promoters said to add the Dells to the show. The Dells were a Temptations-type group that were very, very, very big in the early 70s. Amazing singers. They went on stage and just killed. Girls were standing on the seats and hollering and screaming and throwing panties at the lead singer. They were tearing the place apart. In the middle of their act, I go downstairs to the dressing rooms, and I see James outside his dressing room with Danny Ray. James is with Danny, smoking a cigarette, pacing across the floor outside this hallway. This is totally out of character. Normally, he would be in the dressing room under a hairdryer with a robe just chilling. But he's dressed and pacing, and he was just muttering, "Fucking Dells. Goddamn Dells. They had him. They had him in the palm of their hand. They're fucking idiots. That's why I don't want this shit on my show. They didn't know when to quit. They did what they came for, and now they're still up there singing that shit. Danny, go up there and pull him off the stage. They've been on too long. Get him off stage. Get him off stage. Danny, go get him off."
The group would sing backup vocals for Barbara Lewis, most notably on her record Hello Stranger in 1963. The Dells, they would also collab with legendary music producer, songwriter, and composer Quincy Jones. Jones assisted in the groups into finding their tune and helped tighten up their vocals, after which they would begin performing jazz. The group would take cues from Quincy Jones, Ray Charles, and many other singers, and they would put their own spin, creating their own sound. In 1966, they would sign a new contract with Kodak Records, and it was here that they would collaborate with music producers Bobby Miller, Charles Stephanie, before they was known for working with Earth, Wind & Fire. The group's debut album, There Is, had peaked at number 29 on the Billboard 200 charts and number 4 on the Billboard Top R&B Albums charts. This album had featured 4 big singles, first of which was Oh I Love You,
Written just for you.
the self-entitled single,
And let your troubled heart be free.
Wear It On Our Face,
We're falling in love, my darling, with all our heart and soul.
and Stay In My Corner.
Stay in my corner.
The Dells, they would release 12 albums between the years of 1968 and 1975, all of which had peaked at the top 40 on the Billboard's Top R&B Albums charts. Between these years, they would also issue a number of hits including Bossa Nova Bird,
What kind of bird?
Always Together,
I had made up my mind years ago.
I Could Sing a Rainbow, a re-recorded version of Oh What a Night,
Oh, what a night.
Sitting on the Dock of the Bay,
Watching the ships rolling. Then I watch them roll away again.
Long Lonely Nights,
Over you. Wandering.
and The Glory of Love, among many more hits.
And let your poor heart break.
The group started to have financial problems with their label towards the end of 1974, which led to their departure. The Dells would release music on several labels including 20th Century Fox, Boat, Mercury, ABC, Virgin, and Philadelphia International. Although recording for many different labels, the group, they would still find success with singles such as We Got to Get Our Thing Together,
I called you up 'cause I want.
The Power of Love,
I used to run around with the gang all day.
Our Love,
Forever and ever and ever.
Bet You Never Been Love,
I get up each and every day. Go to work and
I Touched a Dream,
sorry is the word. Oh, but fool is
and A Heart is a House of Love.
heart is a house for love.
Now, in 1991, Robert Townsend created a film particularly based on the Dells. However, the group never had anyone who was addicted to drugs, nor did they have anyone who quit the group like Eddie King did. Also, they never experienced any internal conflicts because they value one another as men and performers.
I interviewed a lot of different, groups. Like I talked with the Temptations, I talked with the OJs, I talked with a lot of different singers, but then the Dells, and I guess maybe it's a Chicago thing, we just really bonded.
So why not just call it the 5 Dells?
I wanted to create a fictitious group because I didn't want to say, hey, that's so-and-so in the movie and so-and-so went through that.
All of the things that the film did was for Hollywood purposes, but it was highly known as a film about the Dells and many groups from the 60s. Now, even though this movie isn't a true biopic, I still have to wonder, which bears me the question, which movie is better, The Temptations or The 5 Heartbeats? In 1992, the Dells, they will receive both the NAACP Award and Rhythm and Blues Foundation Pioneer Award in the same year. The Dells, they was also inducted into both the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Vocal Group Hall of Fame in 2004. Original member Johnny Functions had passed away of pneumonia on January 23, 1998 at the age of 62. Johnny Carter, he will sadly pass away from cancer on August 21st, 2009 at the age of 75. Marvin Jr., he will pass away from kidney failure on May 20th, 2013 at the age of 77. And Chuck Barksdale, would pass away on May 15th, 2019 at the age of 84. The Dells are an example of what young people from Chicago can contribute to the world of music, since their style has served as a model for all future singer groups. They would rank among the best harmony groups of all time. The Dells' incredible vocal chemistry between Johnny Carter's keen tenor and Marvin Jr.'s gruff bass voice had wowed audience for decades.